Whenever you're ready.
Okay. My name is Zungeru, a postdoc fellow here, and today I'm here to teach us how to make the cake. So, I will begin. As we all know, most of us are lovers of cake, which I believe because everybody wants a sweet thing. Yeah, someone will like, okay, who will open his mouth and get a sweet thing and will try to bring it out. I don't think there's anybody, so. Okay, now we look at how we are going to make the cake in today's work. I will begin by listing out what we are going to do for today's agenda, that is today's topic. Now, I will begin with the introduction. What is a cake? Yes, everybody might interpret cake in a different way, but what is a cake? In a simple way, we could just describe it as a sweet thing or a sweet food that everyone is interested in, and which is always made up of egg, milk, butter, and other recipes that it's desired by us. Maybe if it's a chocolate cake, then you might have to need a chocolate. Or if it's any other cake, then you need that recipe of that. But mostly, this class we're going to look at how we're going to make a chocolate cake. Okay. Now, what do we expect at the end of the day from the students? And what is the student intending to get at the end of the course? Now, the student should be able to list the basic steps to follow to make this chocolate cake, and also describe the required steps and use these basic steps to make the cake. Now, the required items in this topic is 1, the pans, the microwave, the spatula, the rack, white whisk, spoons, and ingredients that we require to make this cake: the flour, the chocolate, which is the basic thing because we are trying to get a chocolate cake, and butter, sugar, eggs, milk, depending on what you now want to add to it. But the basic thing is the chocolate. Then other things now follow. Okay. Now let's look at different steps, because I've said that we have different steps of how we're going to make the cake. Okay, we shall follow these steps to make this chocolate cake. First, we begin by preparing our pan by greasing it and flouring them so that we make the environment conducive for the cake. Okay. And next, we now preheat the oven to the temperature that is directed in the recipe, because each one has the temperature to actually use. Now, but for this one, we're going to take it up to about 180 degrees Celsius. That is what is required to make this cake, according to the recipe. Now, the next step is now to melt the chocolate, because each chocolate, it might come in the grain, but we have to melt it first. Now we melt it, and it is important to have all the ingredients prepared prior to making the batter, because the batter is just try to make it in form of watery, but not too watery, so that you can be able to add them together. Then, as I said, the first one, melt the cake. Then we go to the third step, which is now to mix the dry ingredients, that is the flour and other things that is required. And we use a wire whisk to combine them, okay, because you have to stir them together so that everything get together. Now, the next one is now to cream the butter and the sugar. Now, you now start creaming it after you've mixed everything. You now start putting your butter and sugar, and you stir it based on how you want it. Stir it till you see that everything is mixed up. Now we go to this other step, which is now adding the eggs. It depends on the quantity now, but for this one we're going to use about 5 eggs. Okay? And we add the eggs one after the other. Okay? And after then, we now go and add the chocolate that we've already melted, okay, inside of those pans. Then, but be sure to mix it completely so that some part will not have more chocolate and while some part will. Okay, so now we now add the milk, because if you now want the milk inside, of course, we want it to be more sweet, so
1 minute.
add a minute.
1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute left.
Okay. Now we add the butter. We now adding the cake batter to the pounds after you finish everything, because of course you've prepared the pounds already now, because you've mixed everything. You now, because you now try to have 2 pounds, but you now take them together. Okay. Then after then, everything is ready. Now the bake the cakes according to the receipt direction. They remove from oven and cool on rack for like 10 minutes. Okay. And remove from pans and cool completely on wire rack before freezing it, if you want to freeze it. Okay. Then you make sure that the top layer is not on top of the rack, because otherwise it will have some lines. Okay. Then, and then we have our cake ready. As you can see, it's ready and the top is so nice. That is just the basic step. And at the end of this class, I expect that we should be able to follow some of this step. But be sure that you must not follow all these steps according to the way I present it. Okay. Yes, but if you want it to be perfect like this one, then it's advisable you follow these steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, comments, observations?
I liked how you tried to bring everyone in by getting people excited about chocolate. I think even people who are not that excited about chocolate can get excited about chocolate. Guys, isn't chocolate really great? I thought that was nice. Which you could certainly do in science if you're like, oh, isn't motion great? Because like you walk, you know. Which is good. I thought there were a lot of words on your slides, so sometimes I was trying to read the words and talk to you and like listen to what you were saying at the same time. So I would pick one of those things in the future. But I thought it was good. You went through the steps and had nice visuals and.
Yes, the words there that I actually put is because of the time frame. So I will not. That is why we're not able to look at, because sometimes you might just see the picture. Like, okay, maybe I'll be saying something outside, because actually some things are there which that is not exactly what I'm saying. So if you not have the slide along with the little word at the side, it will now guide you, and that is what I expect to give to the students.
Right. So
that the student will not be able to, even if you're not in the class, if you go through those words, you're able to get the picture. That is why I put them at the sides.
Right. I think this is a common problem, that you want students to have good handouts, good things they can refer to after class. And so you do want a lot of information on them. But what you want for a slide is actually different. I think we mentioned in class the idea that people can't read and listen, process auditorily at the same time. It's impossible. So what some people do, and it's a little bit of a pain, but it's not too bad, is that they make up the handouts. They make up what they would hand out to students. They save that as a copy. And then they go back in and they take out most of the text. And that's what they end up showing. And all in all, it's probably, bless you, it's probably a bit more effective, because there is this gap where you're trying to read, you're trying to listen, and then you kind of do both, and then you miss something. So you might want to think about that as a method. That's doing everything once, like really detailed first, and then deleting it for a second copy is sort of the easiest way to do it, but obviously you can do anything you want. And it's nice to give students a complete handout for sure afterwards. So that's one approach. Other comments?
I thought the delivery was very good. It might just be the layout of this room, but I was looking at the slides more than I was looking at you, but I thought that the delivery was very good. And again, I was a bit distracted by all the words, but it's that balance.
So yeah, I will look at that side. Thank you very much.
Other comments?
Yeah, I don't know. With food, it's like, maybe it wasn't so easy to follow, like his presentation, because you had to do something, so it's much more active. But it's so nice all the time, because you have this nice food and you are thinking, oh, I want to eat this, so I do it. And yeah, maybe the same line with the notes and maybe it could be something more schematically, like cake mixing, I don't know, and the ingredients maybe, because there is all the sentence here, so it takes a lot of time to read, at least for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like, just something like, yeah, this is not a good example.
Because of the time frame, we're not able to follow those steps
Right.
very quickly. Okay, so that is why I have to be rushing as just a 1 minute, so I have to just quickly just rush to plan the other one, because
No.
to make a cake, actually you need, in fact, even the preparation time, you need minimum of 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so 6
Yeah.
minutes, you're not able to get the preparation part. All right, okay, I could just bring up this for this class.
Right.
Thank you very much.
I have a couple comments, just, when it said at the beginning, okay, well, what is a cake? Right, you said, what is a cake? And I thought you were gonna make us answer, so you might have wanted to try that, and again, time is a little hard with such little time, but say, okay, what do you think a cake is, Anna? You know, how would you define a cake? And it's this idea that we can listen to you define it, and it sounds really great. You know, we watch you do a derivation at the board, okay, I can follow that, and then I leave the room and I can't do it myself, right? So if you ask us, okay, well, define a cake, then if you put me on the spot a little bit and I've had to kind of come up with a definition of a cake, if it's not quite right, I'm ready to hear your I'm more ready to hear your definition and understand why mine's wrong. So you might want to think about, when you're teaching for real, these ideas are having students answer the question first, so that they can put what you tell them later in that context. That's a little bit of that framework facilitating. So the outcome is great, you had the learning outcomes, students will be able to, that's fabulous, I mean, that's half the battle. But if you're gonna show them to the class, you might wanna say, you'll be able to. Because then it's like, oh, I'll be able to do that, right? The students get, because otherwise it's kind of like, oh, the student, somebody else, but not me. It's just a phrase, it's just a phrasing thing, but when you write it for the students, think about using it. You will be able to. So I think there was only one instance where I think you had the jargon issue, and you said creaming the butter and the sugar. If people haven't made cakes, they don't know what creaming means, right? They think of milk, they think of cream. But that's as experts, as an expert cake baker or whatever, you know what that means, and some of us know what it means, but your students may not know, when you're teaching your real topic. They might not know the word, and then that makes it hard for them to follow. I think your pace and your tone, your volume was good. You speak a little fast. I don't know if anybody else felt that, speak a little fast, but, and this room makes it difficult to look at the slides and make eye contact. But that's something that we often have to work with slides. So if you're teaching in a new room and you're not familiar with it, in the future, kind of get an idea for where you could stand that you'd have the best, it would be easiest for you to look at the slides and then look at the class. This is a tough room for sure. Okay?
I have one more thing.
Yes.
I think, again, it's sort of a bit of a time issue, maybe you don't have time for this, but something that might have helped us a lot is to add in kind of common pitfalls. So you're talking about like beating the eggs, and you say, well, some people beat the eggs wrong because they like use a fork or something, or like, oh, some people don't mix their wet ingredients first.
Mm-hmm.
But just another way to engage people for, maybe we think we know how to bake a cake, but like you're telling us really how to make a cake. So you say like, maybe you'd be inclined to do this, and then that kind of draws me in and says, oh, like I thought I knew, but maybe I do that thing. So it's just another way to engage.
Right. That's an example of misconceptions.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
So you definitely did some of that. You were talking about like the top rack and so like. That's good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to Jerry.